Welcome to the Dropship.com podcast. Today, we're bringing you more e-commerce insights, dropshipping strategies, and all the inspiration you need to grow your business. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, this podcast is your one-stop shop for success. Ready to roll? Here are your hosts, Ava and Noah.
All right, so today we're going to dive into a story that's just pure entrepreneurial gold.
Oh, yeah.
It's about KC Holladay, the guy who went from waiting tables to running a $100 million company.
That's impressive.
All thanks to silicone rings.
Oh.
Our source for this deep dive is the dropship.com newsletter.
Oh, yeah. I love that newsletter.
Yeah, it's packed with insights for anyone who's looking to build a brand or just...
Anyone who just wants to, get some good entrepreneurial advice.
So what are we trying to get out of this deep dive?
Yeah. What's the mission?
I think we should break down Casey's journey, figure out what made him so successful, and see what we can all learn from this guy.
I love that.
His wild ride.
Yeah, and I think what's so fascinating about Casey's story is that it's not just about hitting the jackpot.
Right.
It's about seeing opportunities where other people just see problems, like everyday frustrations, and turn them into a business.
Okay, so let's set the scene.
Okay.
Casey, newly married, working in a Beverly Hills restaurant, but just barely making ends meet.
Oh, wow.
Living with his mom.
Not the glamorous life.
Yeah, not exactly what you would associate with a future millionaire.
Right.
Yeah.
So, this is where things start to get interesting, right?
Yeah.
You're living at home, bills are piling up.
Yeah.
That kind of pressure can really light a fire under you.
It's true.
And I think for KC, that fire ignited a spark of ingenuity.
It all started with a casual conversation, just griping with his buddy about how traditional wedding rings just weren't practical.
Oh, yeah, I've been there.
For their active lifestyles,
Especially
it's one of those aha moments where you realize brilliant ideas
they can come from anywhere.
Yeah. The most mundane situations.
For sure.
And I think what Casey's genius was seeing a problem.
Yeah.
Not as a complaint,
right,
but as an opportunity.
As a potential gold mine.
Right. He wasn't alone in this, right?
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
There was a whole market.
Huge market.
Of people who needed a comfortable, durable alternative
to
these traditional rings.
Makes sense.
And so QALO was born.
QALO.
Silicone rings built for the active lifestyle.
Love it.
Now it seems like a no-brainer.
Totally.
But they were starting from scratch.
Wow.
No experience, just pure hustle.
I love that. And
wouldn't you know, their very first batch of 50,000 rings arrived.
Oh, no.
Defective.
Oh, my gosh.
What do you do?
That's heartbreaking.
This is where most people would have given up.
Totally.
But not KC.
Oh, wow.
He and his wife turned their living room into a production line.
Way.
Literally hand trimming each ring with eyebrow scissors.
That's dedication.
50,000 rings, eyebrow scissors.
Wow.
This is a masterclass in resourcefulness.
Pure grit.
And grit. This wasn't some
Silicon
Valley startup with funding.
Yep.
This was pure bootstrap.
Bootstrapping at its finest.
Ingenuity.
That's amazing.
And what I think is remarkable is this setback didn't just test their resolve, it forced them to really get hands-on with their product.
Yeah.
Understanding the manufacturing process, inside and out.
Absolutely.
It was a crash course in problem solving.
Yeah.
Which would be so valuable later on.
For sure.
Okay, so they've got the product.
All right.
But how do you market a brand new product with zero budget?
Yeah, that's a good question.
This is where KC gets really clever.
Okay, I'm listening.
He realizes traditional advertising is just out of reach.
Way too expensive.
So he turns to influencer marketing before it was even a buzzword.
Oh, wow. Ahead of the curve.
This was a game changer.
Back.
Especially back then, instead of billboards and TV ads.
Right.
He focuses on getting his rings seen on the right people.
Smart.
Athletes, fitness enthusiasts, people who would actually use and appreciate the product.
Makes sense.
And one of their biggest wins.
Oh, tell me.
Andy Dalton, NFL quarterback.
Oh, wow.
Sporting a QALO ring on HBO's Hard Knocks.
That's huge.
Instant brand recognition.
Yeah.
They didn't have to spend millions for a Super Bowl ad.
Smart.
This wasn't just celebrity endorsement.
Right.
This was strategic targeting.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Think
about it. Dalton, an NFL quarterback, represents commitment, resilience, and active lifestyle.
Exactly.
He's the walking embodiment of the QALO customer.
Perfect.
And it wasn't just Dalton. KC was a master at orchestrating these social media campaigns, giveaways, partnerships with organizations that were aligned with QALO's mission, like first responders and the military, building a buzz organically.
I love that.
And what I think is so brilliant is that KC understood the power of community long before most brands caught on.
For sure.
He wasn't just selling rings.
Yeah.
He was selling a lifestyle.
Exactly.
A sense of belonging.
Yeah.
This wasn't marketing. This was building a movement.
I love that.
As sales started climbing, KC hit a crossroads. Keep juggling the restaurant gig.
Oh.
Or go all in on QALO.
The classic entrepreneur dilemma.
Right. It's the leap of faith.
Yeah.
This is where KC's story gets really inspiring.
Okay.
He quits his job.
Wow.
Puts everything on the line.
That's scary.
And dives headfirst into building QALO.
That's impressive.
This wasn't about a product anymore. It was about building a brand, a team, a future.
I love it.
And that's when things really started to take off.
Okay.
He brought on his buddy Ted full-time.
Oh, nice.
They focused on creating systems for growth, expanding their team, solidifying their position as the leading silicone ring brand.
So smart. Welcome back. So we left off with KC taking that big leap.
Yeah.
Quitting his job to focus on QALO full-time. Yeah. And I think as we dig deeper into his strategies, it's important to highlight how he went beyond just like selling a product.
Right.
He built a movement, a community.
Yeah, it's like he tapped into this need for connection, creating this space for people who valued adventure, resilience, commitment.
Yeah.
People who wanted a ring that was as tough as their lifestyle.
I like that.
And
that's what it is. It's a symbol of commitment, right? It's like you're showing the world outwardly, I'm committed, I'm resilient, I'm up for anything.
Exactly. And that tribe, the QALO community, that became like one of their biggest assets.
For sure.
Think about it. You're not just buying a ring.
Right.
You're joining a movement.
Exactly.
And that's where KC's marketing genius really shines.
Yeah.
Remember how we talked about influencer marketing? Well, he didn't just stop with those early wins.
Okay.
He kept cultivating those relationships.
I see.
With athletes, first responders, military personnel.
Wow.
People who lived the QALO values every single day.
So smart.
And, this wasn't just about paid endorsements. This was about genuine partnerships.
Authenticity.
Yeah, with people who actually use the product and believe in the product.
I love that.
It's like word of mouth marketing on steroids.
Absolutely.
And we can't forget about those social media campaigns and the giveaways.
Oh, yeah.
He was like a master at creating buzz, generating excitement around the brand.
Yeah.
It felt like QALO was everywhere.
Yeah.
And everyone wanted to be a part of it.
Right.
But here's the thing.
Yeah.
He wasn't just throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what stuck.
Okay.
He was so strategic about everything he did.
Makes sense.
He knew his target audience.
Yeah.
Inside and out.
Totally.
And he tailored his messaging perfectly.
I see.
It's like he was speaking directly to the hearts and minds of his customers.
Absolutely.
He understood their pain points, their aspirations, their values, and he reflected those back at them in everything QALO did.
That's powerful.
And this is where his vision really sets him apart.
Okay, how so?
He didn't just want to sell rings.
Yeah.
He wanted to create a brand that stood for something, a brand that people could connect with.
On an emotional level.
Yes, on an emotional level.
Yeah.
And he nailed it.
He did.
Think about it. QALO isn't just about silicone rings anymore.
Right.
It's about adventure, resilience, commitment. It's about living life to the fullest.
That's a great message.
It's a powerful message, a message that resonates with a lot of people.
Absolutely.
And that's what drove QALO's growth.
Yeah, it's like they cracked the code of brand loyalty.
Totally.
It's not just a product.
Yeah. You're buying into a way of life.
It's a way of life.
And once you tap into that, you've got something special.
Absolutely.
Okay, so while KC was busy building this community and cultivating that brand loyalty, he also understood that a successful business needs to constantly evolve.
Right. You can't just stay the same.
Right. You can't rest on your laurels.
Exactly.
Remember when we talked about those defective rings?
Oh, yeah.
In that first batch?
In the first batch?
Well, that experience taught him the importance of quality control. And continuous improvement.
So you're saying he became obsessed?
He became obsessed with refining the product, making sure it was the best it could be.
Yeah.
He wasn't afraid to experiment, to try new things, to listen to customer feedback.
Right.
And make adjustments along the way.
I love that.
Like he introduced those subscription options for ring replacements. So smart.
Yeah.
Not only did it create recurring revenue, but it also solved a real problem for customers who were wearing their rings hard.
Right.
And needed a new one every few months.
Exactly. A win-win.
Totally. The customer gets a convenient solution.
Yep.
And QALO gets a steady stream of income.
Exactly. And then there's the product line expansion.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about that.
They didn't just stick with basic silicone rings.
Okay.
You know, they started offering different colors, styles, designs, even accessories, themed collection.
Oh, so smart.
He was always looking for ways to expand his reach.
To appeal to a wider audience.
Makes sense.
And it worked.
Yeah.
QALO became like a one-stop shop.
Yeah.
For anyone looking for a comfortable, stylish, durable alternative to traditional jewelry.
It's a textbook example
Right.
of how to scale a business strategically.
Yeah.
You start with your core product, build a loyal customer base, and then you expand
and
meet those needs.
And it wasn't just about expanding the product line. KC also focused on building a solid infrastructure for growth.
Nice.
He knew to scale successfully, he needed the right people, processes, and technology in place.
So true.
So he invested in building a strong team, hiring people who were passionate about the brand and its mission.
Love it.
Implemented systems and processes to streamline operations, ensure efficiency.
Smart.
He wasn't afraid to spend money where it mattered,
Right.
but he was always careful to avoid overspending and maintain that financial stability.
So important.
You know, it's like he was playing a long game, building a company that would last.
A legacy.
Yeah.
And that long-term vision, that's what ultimately led to QALO's success.
Absolutely.
He didn't get caught up in the hype. He stayed focused on building a sustainable business.
And it's amazing to see how he went from hand-trimming rings in his living room to running this multi-million-dollar company with over 100 employees.
That's so inspiring.
It's proof that with the right mix of vision strategy and just sheer determination, anything is possible.
Totally.
Welcome back to the deep dive. So we've been on this crazy journey with KC Holladay. You know,
It's been a wild ride.
Yeah, tracing his path from that struggling restaurant worker to building this $100 million silicone ring empire.
It's incredible.
I know we've covered a lot, you know, from his early struggles and those really clever marketing tactics to the power of community and, you know, scaling strategically.
Yeah, that's it.
But I think as we wrap up this deep dive, it's important to step back and see what we can all take away.
Yeah. What are the big lessons here?
Yeah, beyond just the business side of things.
Exactly.
You know, this isn't just a playbook for like aspiring entrepreneurs.
Right.
It's a story about how to turn your limitations into fuel for innovation.
I love that.
Like, remember KC was living with his mom juggling that restaurant job?
Yeah, he didn't exactly come from privilege.
Not a silver spoon in sight.
And yet
those constraints became his catalyst.
Yeah.
Like he couldn't afford those fancy ad campaigns.
Right.
So he found creative ways to get his product in front of the right people.
Guerrilla marketing.
Yeah, and he couldn't afford a big team. So he and his wife turned their living room into a production line.
I mean, that's amazing.
Right. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes having less forces you to think differently.
Yeah, you got to be resourceful.
To be more resourceful. It's like that old saying.
Necessity is the mother of invention.
Exactly.
That's so true.
And KC's story also highlights something I think is crucial.
Okay, what's that?
Aligning your passion with a real market need. He didn't just create a product just to create something.
Right.
He solved a problem he was personally experiencing.
Yeah.
The impracticality of traditional rings for like an active lifestyle.
Makes sense.
And he wasn't alone.
Right.
He tapped into a need that millions of people shared.
Yeah, I bet a lot of people hadn't even realized they needed it.
Until QALO came along.
Until QALO showed up.
Right, that's the magic formula.
It is.
Solve a real problem.
Yeah.
For a real group of people.
Absolutely. And I think, as we've talked about throughout this whole deep dive community, played such a huge role.
Huge role.
In QALO's success.
Yeah, KC understood that people crave that connection.
Yeah, we want to belong.
We want to belong to something bigger than ourselves.
Exactly.
And he tapped into that, creating this tribe of like-minded individuals who shared those values. Adventure, resilience, commitment.
Yeah.
It was like wearing a QALO ring became a badge of honor.
Totally.
A symbol of belonging.
To something special.
To something special, yeah.
And That's powerful.
It turns customers into advocates. It fuels word-of-mouth marketing.
Yeah.
And it creates this level of loyalty that's so hard to replicate.
It really is.
So what can we all learn from KC Holladay's journey?
I'm ready.
All right. First and foremost, don't underestimate the power of constraints.
Okay.
Embrace those limitations. Use them as fuel for creativity and find ways to work around them.
I love that.
Second, focus on solving a real problem.
Yeah.
For a real group of people, don't just create a product or service just because...
Find that need and fill it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Third, build a community.
Yes.
Around your brand.
So important.
Create that tribe of loyal customers who feel connected to your values and your mission.
Love it.
And finally, never stop believing in your vision.
Ah.
You know, KC faced so many challenges along the way.
He did.
But he never gave up on that dream. He persevered, he adapted, and ultimately he achieved something truly remarkable. So inspiring KC Holladay's story is proof that with the right mindset, a little bit of grit, and a whole lot of heart, you can turn even the simplest idea into something extraordinary.
I love that.
Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.
It's been fun.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
That's it for today on the Dropship.com podcast. We hope you got some value out of this episode. If you're looking to stay ahead in e-commerce and dropshipping, the Dropship.com newsletter is where we dive deeper into the latest trends, news, and strategies. Delivered every Monday and Thursday. Don't miss it. Subscribe with the link below.